Good evening. A 3-year-old girl has just touched down in Perth on an emergency flight from Christmas Island with a life-threatening blood infection. Little Tanika is the youngest daughter of a Tamil asylum seeker family.
We now know she's been sick for 13 days.
Dizzy and vomiting, her condition only taken seriously after repeated pleas from her parents.
Vigils are being held right across the country to mark 3 years since an asylum seeker family was removed from their Biloela home and placed in detention.
This morning, Biloela residents gathered at dawn, pausing for 3 minutes to reflect on the past 3 years this family has spent in detention.
Tonight, as a petition to bring Priya, Nadez and the girls home approaches 400,000 signatures, more vigils are taking place across the country, including on Christmas Island. Aussie screen icon Michael Caton, whose ties with Biloela run deep, joining the outpouring of support.
I keep on thinking of the little girls stuck there on their own. They're walked by a guard to school every day.
Senator Keneally continues to push for the release of a Biloela family being held in detention on Christmas Island. The Labor senator has been to visit them and says new Home Affairs Minister Karen Andrews could simply use her discretionary power to release them.
The youngest child is only 3 years old. She was taken into immigration detention by the government at 8 months. She has known nothing else in her life except living behind bars and under guard.
That family should be back in Queensland, and I hope the minister takes the opportunity of the change of minister. She's the new minister, and she can now look at the file anew, use her discretion and bring them back to Queensland, to the community that wants them, and that would be the right thing to do.
It's a question as to who you are, Karen Andrews. Do you have compassion for this family who've been detained for more than 3 years?
Compassion takes many different forms.
Good evening. A 3-year-old girl has just touched down in Perth on an emergency flight from Christmas Island with a life-threatening blood infection.
Tanika was flown into WA yesterday and taken to Perth Children's Hospital, now diagnosed with sepsis and untreated pneumonia.
Supporters say she had been sick for 10 days on Christmas Island, dizzy and vomiting, her condition only taken seriously after repeated pleas from her parents.
The fact that she had to wait so long to get the health care that she needed is devastating.
She was very distressed. We were trying to distract her. I was actually doing a puppet show over the phone.
Tanika is likely to spend her 4th birthday on Saturday in hospital, separated from her father and sister.
2 separate demonstrations have been planned for Perth tomorrow in protest of the family's treatment. The first to be held outside Attorney General Michaelia Cash's office at midday, before a candlelight vigil's held here at Perth Children's Hospital in the evening.
Does the government not have the discretion to be able to make a decision on this?
We are going through the process now of investigating a range of resettlement options.
I understand the United States is the first of those, and that New Zealand is also an option.
Turns out what Minister Andrews was really working through was her backpedalling game.
The Home Affairs Minister had suggested a new home could be found overseas, comments she's now walking away from.
I actually haven't said that I'm investigating resettlement options for that family.
It's bizarre. Karen Andrews just blurting that out and then doing the backflip when you're messing with people's lives.
There's a regional town in Queensland that wants this family back.
This family should be brought home to Billow.
Happy birthday, Tanika. I miss you. I love you, Tanika.
I love you, Tanika. She spent every one of her birthdays in federal detention, her well-wishes delivered remotely, as celebrities sent a special recording of her favourite song.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star.
Happy birthday, Tanika. Get better soon. We miss you here in Billow. Happy birthday, dear Tani. I'm actually going to invite Pastor Nathan, who is the pastor at the local Baptist church, to come up.
So we pray for our politicians, Lord. Give them courage, give them compassion.
Their plight is becoming hard to ignore. Billboards in Sydney and Melbourne urging the government to bring the Tamil family back to Biloela.
Enough is enough. This family need to be settled.
Well, there is fresh hope for compassion in the case of the Tamil family from Biloela tonight, as government MPs break ranks.
A growing number of backbench MPs, even from within the government's own ranks, have joined the chorus.
It is time that they were brought back onto the mainland of Australia and they were provided
with the opportunity to remain here in Biloela with that community.
Thanika and Kopeka were born in Australia. Now, maybe if their names were Jane and Sally and they were playing the local netball side, would think twice about sending them back to another country which they're not from.
Breaking this hour, the Treasurer has just confirmed on the Today Show a Tamil family in detention on Christmas Island will be reunited very soon on Australian soil.
I have made a community residence determination for the Sri Lankan family that has been in held detention on Christmas Island to ensure that they can be reunited in the community in Perth.
Minister, what's stopping you from letting this family go back to Biloela where they have a community that will support them?
Why can't they return to Biloela where the community would welcome them with open arms?
It just feels like they're still not listening and they're not doing what's in the public's best interest, which is just bring them home.
This is the meatworks that Nades was employed at when he lived here in Biloela with his family. And the company has said on a number of occasions that if he does return, the position he once held will be ready and waiting.
You said you were acting with appropriate compassion. What's appropriate compassion?
The Biloela community, I know, has made it clear that they want Thanika's family to come home.
Waving goodbye to their life on Christmas Island, Nades Murugappan and daughter Kopeka board their charter flight, ready to be reunited with the rest of their family on the mainland.
Now, the government charter touched down just after 5:15 tonight, bringing the father and daughter to Perth to join the rest of the family. It's been quite a whirlwind day for them, with the government only breaking the news to the pair early this morning.
They need love and care and nurturing to recover from what they have been put through. And that is exactly what we can offer them here in Biloela.
Campaigners have flown across the country to support the Sri Lankan family detained in Perth.
We're very excited to get on this plane, get over to Perth, and we're going to go straight to the hospital to see our friends.
Now, the Biloela friends say it was quite the emotional reunion with Priya, Nades and their daughters here in Perth Children's Hospital. Not only are they here to support the Tamil family, they're also demanding the Morrison government allow the couple and their children to return to the community of Biloela.
Oh, she is just so incredibly strong, but Priya just wept in my arms and just said this is so hard. We're determined. We're going to be together in Bilo again. So thank you.
I hope back to Bilo one day.
What are you excited to see?
I'm so excited to see flowers.
See flowers? You've got flowers on your t-shirt.
Yeah. On the left one. My dad is pushing me.
We actually have no certainty beyond 8 weeks. After that time, we actually don't know what's going to happen.
There's a development tonight in the plight of the Tamil family as they fight deportation. The Immigration Minister has now issued temporary bridging visas to allow them to work and study in Perth. But the youngest child, Thanika, has not been given a visa and remains in community detention.
What does this mean in effect? Is this a tactic, as you see it, from the government, essentially granting them a bridging visa, but by not doing it for the younger daughter, they're still constrained?
It means that 3 of the family are free to be wherever they want to be in Australia. But unfortunately, with Thanika still being held in community detention, it seems like a bit of a symbolic gesture.
Well, a program for children written by children is being heard around the world in a new Aussie podcast called Story Kids. The stories are brought to life by the voices of well-known Australians.
One young contributor is 6-year-old Kopeka Murugappan from Biloela.
Hello, my name is Kopeka and I'm nearly 6 years old.
I am Princess Kopeka. I have long hair. I'm wearing a tutu. I climb outside the window to see my friends in my little cubby house in a tree. It is a princess cubby house. I was incredibly moved and touched and honoured to be able to read that story.
Biloela may be a small town, but it's brimming with diversity. The idea to hold the Flourish Festival was thought up during the height of COVID to keep the community connected.
So many different cultures talking to each other, learning from each other, asking questions.
But one family was noticeably missing. Tamil asylum seekers, the Morugappans, are stuck in Perth.
Priya is well known for her famous Tamil curries, so Sri Lankan curries, and it would have been wonderful for her to be able to have a food stall.
They're hoping for changes to their youngest daughter Tanika's visa status so they can join in the next festival. Biloela locals took their fight to Gladstone at the weekend, explaining to others about the family's ongoing fight for freedom.
My heart just burst. I just couldn't believe we as Australians living in this beautiful country could do something like that.
They say the community's support is needed now more than ever as the family faces even more uncertainty. 3 of the 4 Morugappans were granted 3-month bridging visas, but they expire in 30 days.
On that day, the family does face either being deported back to Sri Lanka or being put back in detention.
Good morning, Joe.
Hello, Christine. Thanks for having me.
Tell me about the moment you met them.
Well, I was booked to play Christmas Island, and I thought it would be a great opportunity to, say hello. And they were just so super kind and lovely.
You are a musician and you've written a song for the family. We don't want to fight, we just want peace. To sleep at night, to sleep at night. We don't want to fight, we just want peace. To sleep at night, give up the fight.
The family can't leave Perth and need to regularly check in with caseworkers, although to them, anywhere is better than Christmas Island. Tanika, how old are you now?
I am still 4.
Where did you spend your birthday?
At the hospital.
Priya, Nadez and Kopika are on 3-month bridging visas which expire in September. As for Tanika, she's the only one who's been officially ordered to live in community detention. But because she has to, the whole family has to. Are you worried that you might have to go back to detention very soon?
I don't sleep in the night time. It's very, very hard.
What do you think will happen to you if you do have to go back to Sri Lanka?
என்ன வேண்டுமென்றால் நடக்கும் உயிரும் போகலாம் அது 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 இப்போதைக்கு சொல்ல முடியாது எனக்கு என்ன அங்க போனா இருப்பேனான்றது நம்பிக்கை இல்லை நாங்க 2 பேரும் I have to do Twinkle Twinkle Little Star.
We're going to do Little Star. Are we ready? Twinkle, 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 little star.
They were the voices just there of Tanika and Kopika, who have joined in the Tree House Cubby program, which is an online playgroup that was started by ABC TV Play School presenter Leah Vandenberg.
The strongest thing I get from these girls is their eagerness to be kids, to be girls. I just see them immediately wanting to jump into the world of imagination and create fantastic worlds. And they're so funny and they're so sparky and confident.
Their situation has touched a nerve throughout the whole country. A family escaping war, trapped in limbo.
We had to throw everything we had at getting them home.
And the country town fighting to get them back.
You don't muck with Biloela people, and Nanis and Priya, they're Biloela people.
A race against time.
They will be deported unless something's done.
Will not just face arrest, but likely torture.
Australian Story, Monday at 8.
The Morrison government has announced that it will offer the Biloela family members new bridging visas. Lawyers acting on behalf of Immigration Minister Alex Hawke have agreed to provide the family with a 3-month bridging visa. Previous visas issued in June to Nadez, Priya and daughter Kopika were set to expire next Wednesday. The new bridging visas are set to expire on December 23 this year.
If the Biloela family are returned to Sri Lanka, at the very best, they will be arrested when they arrive, they will be investigated and almost certainly have to go into re-education camps for a period of 2 years. That's the best outcome. Their children will be taken away and put into orphanages because they can't go into the re-education camps, and they will essentially disappear into the system. At worst, and more likely to see, is that the parents will not just face arrest and re-education, but likely torture and potentially disappearance. Their case is a very high-profile one, and they will be regarded very poorly by Sri Lanka's authorities. So we'll lose both the parents and the children who are born in Australia.
This is a letter from the Department of Immigration to then Immigration Minister David Coleman, and it says, "The remaining MPs have written to you on behalf of their constituents, including the Deputy Prime Minister, the Honourable Michael McCormack MP, the Honourable Tony Abbott, the Honourable Julie Bishop, the Honourable Barnaby Joyce. We had no idea that so many Conservative MPs had been writing to the Immigration Minister on behalf of the family."
Naz did a job that we always found hard to fill, unloading cartons from a freezer. Did his job, and you're really the type of employee that you go out of your way to try and find. இப்போ இந்த பிள்ளைகள கோபிகா தர்ணிக்காட லைஃப் தான் முக்கியம். ஏனப்பா நாங்கள் இப்படி இருக்கிறோம் அப்படி நாங்கள் இங்கே வந்திருக்கிறோம். நாங்கள் இன்னும் கொஞ்ச காலம்தான், நாங்கள் கண்டிப்பாக விழா போவோம். போயிட்டு நாங்கள் நீங்கள் நினைக்கிற மாதிரி உயிரே அங்கே தான் இருக்குது, என் உயிரே விழாவில் தான் இருக்குது.
அவங்களோட மனசில் எனக்கும் என்னோட பிள்ளைகளுக்கும் ஒரு பெரிய இடம் கொடுத்துருக்காங்க. அதுக்கு நான் லைஃப் ஃபுல்லாக அவங்களுக்கு தேங்க்ஸ் பண்ணுறேன். தொடர்ந்தும் எனக்கு அவங்களோட லவ்வையும் சப்போர்ட்டையும் கொடுத்து எனக்கு பிலோவில்லாக்கு அனுப்பி வைப்பாங்கன்னு நான் நம்பிக்கையோடு காத்திருக்கிறேன். இது
The Tamil family fighting deportation to Sri Lanka is allowed to stay in Australia for another 12 months, but there's a catch. They won't be able to return to their former hometown of Biloela in Queensland.
That's because only 3 members of the family have been granted temporary visas. The youngest, 4-year-old Tanika, remains in community detention.
So that means then that even though you said you'll consider the case on its merits, there's no way you'll grant them a visa to stay here because of the coalition policy.
There's lots of material for me to consider. There's plenty of claims.
But without even the individual case, you've just said what the coalition
many have been tested in high in the courts, including the High Court. We've got a live court process at the moment in
that could ever change your mind?
Barnaby Joyce, earlier this year, you said you'd fight for the Murugappan family to be allowed to return to Biloela. You've been acting Prime Minister for the past week. Few get that sort of chance in their lifetime. What have you done in the past week to help with that fight?
I've had to... Well, we also have a cabinet system of government.
We've got all the children out of detention.
He said we got all children out of detention, which was untrue, because not only myself, the entire Australia knew that these children were in detention, and along with them there were a number of other children. Yeah, we were extremely surprised that Prime Minister made such a statement at the National Press Club and in front of the public.
We were able to secure our borders and ensure that ultimately we've got every child out of detention.
It's all in black and white, and one doesn't need a PhD to work it out. This is a clear breach of ministerial standards, because clearly the public have been misled, the Parliament has been misled.
This family thrived in community for several years. You know, they rented their own house, they paid their own way, they paid their own expenses. We know for a fact that there is a job waiting here in Biloela for Nadez. We know they will rent their own house, or if not in the meantime, there are so many of us with rooms that this family could move into. So it really is a cop-out, and essentially what they are doing is they're keeping the family in a holding pattern and continuing to ensure that every week when they make that department phone call, they're well aware that they still aren't free.
Oh, I'm just proud of the town. You know, the way the women, you know, I don't know how they could go on for 3 years fighting like this. I think they've done a great job.
Good night.
There are a lot of things that are special about Nadez and Priya. They really gave a lot to Biloela. Okay. But I would like to think that people in Biloela would fight for any of their friends, because If you take away the politics from this story,
Okay, good night.
it is just a story really about standing up for your friends.
தான் அவங்களும் விரும்புகிறாங்க. நானும் என்னோட குழந்தைகள் ஃப்ரீடமாக இருக்கணும், எல்லாத்தையும் பார்த்து ரசிக்கணும்.
நாங்கள் விழாவில் இருக்கிறப்போ என் குடும்பமும் பிள்ளைகளும் சந்தோஷமாக இருந்த நிலைமை மீண்டும் தொடரணும் என்று நான் விருப்பப்படுறேன். கண்டிப்பாக அது நடக்கும் என்று எதிர்பார்ப்புடன் இருக்கிறேன்.